Hello, dear students. So today we are going to discuss about mobile telecommunication technologies. Here we will be learning about different generations, how mobile telecommunications has evolved, and how we have reached to 4G. And you have heard about 5G, but it is still under development, and sooner or later we will be reaching to that stage as well. So without much delay, let's get started. So here are the different generations. In first generation, first analog mobile signals were introduced. So you can barely make calls, you cannot text, and data speed is up to 2 kb per second. Here G in 1G or 2G, 3G represents the generation of the mobile communication technology. And each generation is defined as a set of telephone network standards which detail the technology implementation of a particular mobile phone system. The speed increases and the technology used to achieve that speed also changes. For example, you have seen 1G, you can just make a calls only. And in 2G, text messaging was introduced, so you can send SMS or sometimes a very limited support for MMS. And then the next generation, the age was internet age, where we get a speed of a 2 MB per second, so we can do some basic mobile browsing task. And then we get into fourth generation, which is the current generation, where you can witness more than 2 Gbps to 100 Mbps speed, so that you can watch videos, you can access dynamic content, you can use more cloud computing, and you, in simple words, you can utilize all the functionality offered by Web 2.0. Now, since I have spoken Web 2.0, let me explain you what 2.0 is. Web 2.0 is a collection of services like social media, YouTube, and other interactive services which is offered by the internet, like cloud computing, right? As we progress in the generation from 2G to 3G, now the focus was the internet speed, or you can say data speed, we receive in our mobile handsets. So in 3G we have 2 Mbps speed, and in 4G we have more than 2 Mbps to 100 Mbps speed, and 5G we are still working on, and our engineers are still working on, and it will be achieved when a data speed will reach up to 1 gigabyte per second. Okay, so this is it. Now let us move one step ahead and learn about 1G. This is the first generation of wireless telephone technology. These are the analog telecommunication standard that were introduced in 1979 and the early to mid 1980s. Being an analog technology means that phone generally had a poor battery life and voice quality without much security. Basically, simple phone calls over all it was able to do. The maximum speed of 1G is 2.4 kbps or kilobit per second. In 18 in 1970, sorry, it is in 1987, one of the Australian company called Telecom, now it has been changed to Telstra, received its first cellular mobile phone network utilizing the first analog system. 1G is an analog technology, so you cannot accept much from this, and in this technology you may sometimes experience call drops. So not much to say about this first generation technology. Now let us move to our next technology, that is second generation. Here some sort of a text from analog to digital uh, technology transfer were done, or this was the biggest transition phase. Now let us go to the text and then we will discuss. This was the biggest transition in wireless phone technology, changing from analog or 1G signal to 2G signals. The digitization of a 2G introduced data services for mobile, starting with SMS or short messaging services, plain text-based message, and enabled the various mobile phone network to provide service such as text messaging, picture message, and MMS, multimedia message service. This generation of cellular telecom network was commercially launched on GSM, Global System for Mobile Standard, in Finland by Radio Linja, and in 1991 the maximum speed offered by 2G generation was 50 kbps or 1 mbps with enhanced data rate for GSM, or that was called a edge technology, right? And you can see the smartphones or phones that was used earlier. And frankly speaking, my father used to have this phone. In this era, actually there were multiple companies developing multiple standards. Here the important thing is the first one was GSM, and the second was CDMA, and third was GPRS, and later on Edge. So these are the technologies used in 2G generations. Okay, now let's move to our next generation, that is 3G or 2 Mbps speed generation mobile, where we can browse internet and very little support for videos and emails too. Now let us go through the text. Now this is where it get more interesting. With 3G wireless network comes many data services we have come to know and love: web browsing, emails, video downloading, picture sharing, and other smart technology, to mention a few. It was introduced commercially in 2001 with the aim of facilitating greater voice and data capacity, support a wider range of application, and increase data transmission at a lower cost. 3G technology provides an information transfer rate of at least 200 kbps. These, of course, it has done well before the lap of 4G. Okay, so now let us talk about the technology includes high speed data link packet access, that is called HSDPA. Okay, and when you see H, that means your mobile phone or a smartphone is using HSDPA. Okay, then there was a evolved HSDCPA. When you see H plus, that means at the time your mobile phone is using evolved or enhanced version of HSPA. Okay, 3GPP, long term evolution LTE, the precursor of LTE advanced, that is a precursor technology for fourth generation, right? So you may see LTE nowadays because you are using a LTE version of 4G signals. Okay, so now this is all about 3G generation. The 3G standard utilizes a new technology called UMTS as its core network architecture. The full form of UMTS is Universal Mobile Telecommunication System. This network combines accepts of the 2G network with some new technology and protocol to deliver a significant faster data rate based on a set of standards used for mobile devices and mobile communication. Uses services and networks that comply with the International Mobile Telecommunication 2000, that is called IMT 2000. Before we could reach to 4G, it was in between there was a transition phase where we call this generation as a 3.5G, and then it is converted into a 3.75G as more features were introduced in order to bring about 4G. Now let us move to our next generation, which is a current generation, that is called 4G generation. As expected, it is an improvement of 3G, and 4G is built for speed of at least 100 gigabytes per second and up to 1 gigabyte per second but actual speed depends upon the load and signal strength. 4G also make it possible to share the network resources to support more simultaneous connections. Potential and concurrent application include amended mobile web access, IP telephony, game services, high definition mobile TVs, video conferencing, 3D television, and cloud computing. Like 2G and 3G, 4G also has another interim standard before taking the leap to 5G. This is 4.5G, also called LTE, long term evaluation advance. Okay, it provides better performance than 4G system as a process step towards the development of full 5G capabilities. The technology includes, okay, LTE, I have already told you about that. That is a long-term evaluation, so it is a method of research and development. And then finally we have a multiple input, multiple output, that is called MIMO. One important technology that is not written here, that is called OFDM, orthogonal frequency division multiplexing. The two important 4G standards are WiMAX and LTE. The max speed of a 4G network when the device is moving is about 100 MB per second, or 1 GB for low mobility communication like when stationary or walking. Latency reduced from around 100 meter per second to less than 300 to 100 meter per second, significantly lower congestion. Take it when we have a lower congestion. Now coming to the next generation, that is a future technology, and we are very close to reach that, and that is 5G, where we will be getting 1 gigabyte per second or more speed. 5G is a generation currently under development. It denotes the next major phase of a mobile telecommunication standards. Beyond the current 5G network is expected to support data rates of several tens of Mbps, should be supported for tens of thousands of users, and also 1 gigabyte per second to be offered simultaneously tens of users as a part of it requirements. Key technology to look out for is massive MIMO, millimeter wave mobile communication, massive MIMO, millimeter wave small cell, Li-Fi. All other new technologies from the previous decade could be used to give 10 gigabytes per second to the user with an unseen low latency and low connection for at least 100 billion devices. Finally, let us summarize today's video. That is, first of all, we have first generation mobile telecommunication where we can have only voice calls. That was the era where in between 1970s to 1984 technology use was these, and frequency was 300 kilohertz, and core network was PSTN. Then from one generation we moved to second generation in 1980s to 1999. Major technology used was GSM, and frequency was 1.8, speed was maximum up to 64 kb per second, and the access system was TDMA, time division multiple access, and CDMA, code division multiple access. And then we moved to third generation in almost 2000, and the technology was WCDMA, and frequency was 1.6 to 2 gigahertz, and maximum speed we get was 2 mbps, and access system was again CDMA. And then there was an age of 4G generation where we are using massive amount of our data, or utilizing a massive amount of our data nowadays. Starting from 2000 to 2010, the technology was LTE and WiMAX. Operating range was 2 to 8 gigahertz, and the bandwidth was, you can imagine, 2000 mbps to 1 gigabyte per second. And again, the technology or access system was CDMA, and core network was internet. And then finally we have a 5G generation, and we do not have it right now. Its phase was developed, means our scientists were working since 2010, and still it is a matter of research and and technology. It was uses MIMO and waves, and frequency is up to 3 to 330 gigahertz, and you should be getting 1 gigabyte per second or more. Okay, and access system will be OFDM or BDMA. That's all for the day. Hope you have learned about different generation of a mobile and now ready to answer different questions which may be coming in your CPSC board examination. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye bye.